What's up, Buttercup? Welcome back to my channel. Today's book review is A Dowry of Blood by S.T Gibson. I gave this book 5 stars. Technically it's 4.5 stars, but I rounded up on Goodreads. Now I love this cover. Over the others that have been released recently, there's one that's like a tannish brown kind of red. I don't know, that wasn't yeah, I'm glad I got this cover before it was switched over, or maybe that's like a hardcover copy or something. I don't know. I just really like this cover. It is the vibe for this story. Now, this book was originally self-published, but it became so popular that S.T Gibson picked up a big publishing deal and agent. Congrats to her. Big round of applause. The blurb is on point. It is correct to the story. So I'll read it for y'all, and then we're gonna get started into my non-spoilerly review. And I mention, just if you're new here, if the blurb is accurate to the story or not, because I don't know what's happening, but there's a lot of blurbs that are not at all like the story, and I think that is borderline lying to the reader. So that's why I'm mentioning that this blurb is accurate to the actual story within. I know for a fact I'm going to mess up the main character's name, Constanta. I think that's correct. I like that one of the brides calls her Constance. I don't know Constanta. That doesn't sound nice. Anyway, I'm so sorry. Moving on. Saved from the brink of death by a mysterious stranger, Constanta is transformed from a medieval peasant into a bride fit for an undying king. But when Dracula draws a cunning aristocrat and a starving artist into his web of passion and deceit, Constanta realizes that her beloved is capable of terrible things. Finding comfort in the arms of her rival consorts, she begins to unravel their husband's dark secrets. With the lives of everyone she loves on the line, Constanta will have to choose between her own freedom and her love for her husband. But bonds forged by blood can be broken only by death. Now, it is not a spoiler that the brides of Dracula kill him. This is actually an older copy. There is another blurb out there. I'm pretty sure it was either on Amazon and Goodreads or both that I read, and it just outright says that they kill him. Okay, so I mean, I'm into it, but if that's not what you're into, probably skip the book. The story is in diary form from the view of the first bride, Constanta, and it is about why they kill Dracula, why it takes so long to kill him, and why they feel the way they do. There's a lot of whys involved, but you know what? I'm into it. I was really into it. I think it's very compelling because it's a bit of a new twist of storytelling due to it setting up that Dracula, the Dracula that so many people know all about, even if you're not really into horror or vampires. He's gonna die. That's it. We all know he's gonna die. The infamous Dracula is going to be murdered by his brides. Oh, okay. Well, usually that would be a huge spoiler, but not in this case. And I think it's fascinating for people, including myself, because in other stories, they're obsessed with him, they love him, they are his brides, they're supposed to love him forever and ever, but in this version that eventually cannot stand because of his abuse, and I think that is very fascinating, and I think a lot of people think that it's fascinating. That's why it became so popular and still is popular. I can see the argument about how the ending was a bit rushed and the killing wasn't grand enough. However, in this version, Dracula isn't very grand. He's a bit meek compared to all the other adaptions. Yes, he can be violent and he does kill people. He does, yes, I mean, there is that. But this version prefers to manipulate and emotionally and mentally abuse you into submission first. He'll definitely be violent if he runs out of options, but like that's the last option. Some versions, it's like his third option. Whatever. But like he is very emotionally and mentally abusive, and that's his preferred way of grabbing you and just making you obsessed with him in all the really, really bad ways. So it makes sense to me that his death isn't a grand scheme with blood and guts written out over like 40 pages of sordid detail. But yes, I can see the argument that a lot of reviewers made where it's not grand enough because it's Dracula and the brides and it should be bigger, but he's not a big figure. He is kind of like a usual vampire that's really, really old, that is meek and sly and very quiet. And though he has these 3 brides, there's a lot of times where he just locks himself away to do research and to be alone and to study and read and like, you know, whatever. But that is really interesting. I'm sure like other Draculas kind of do that, but like you're not around a lot. So why do you have 3 brides? Like because he gets bored. But it's just like you're very into being by yourself. And then, I mean, like the point is that he's very into himself and he manipulates the 3 brides into basically just following him around like a puppy, and he will dismiss the puppies when he sees fit, more so in a subtle manipulation, very abusive way, in the fact that like, I need my space and you are ruining my day. Please go away. Like, it's very subtle. It is subtle. And I think that was a really interesting choice versus having him be abusive in a very violent, angry, outright way. And that is spoken about by Constanta, where she says throughout this book in her diary that she just couldn't pick up on it for like 100+ years because he's so quiet and she doesn't see like rage popping out, you know. It's very, very subtle. And that is some of the scariest and nefarious abusers. They are quiet, but they manipulate you so well that, yeah, they're gaslighting you. I mean, there are other, of course, the very violent, rage-filled, outright abusers that also gaslight you. But in this particular case, it's like, wait, was I even gaslit? Like, when did it start? Did he even love me? He's so quiet and like he's really not violent and like he doesn't yell and he doesn't hit us. So it, you know, in their mind, it can't be bad. And that's where you get the tension and you're just like, oh damn, okay. This is a slow burn of, we're going to see slowly over hundreds and hundreds of years why, and then they snap. And it's a snap that isn't grand, you know, like I said, but I think it's realistic. Even though we're involving vampires, I think it's a realistic snap. Thank you so much for watching my book review on A Dowry of Blood by S.T Gibson. I will see you in the next video. Bye.